सब्सक्राइब कीजिए डेली ट्रेंडिंग न्यूज चैनल को और बेल के बटन को दबाइए और आने वाले इंटरेस्टिंग न्यूज के मजे पाइए।
Just finished. This was the last bilateral Prime Minister just finished meeting President Xi Jinping at the conclusion of the BRICS summit and the emerging markets and developing country meeting today. The meeting between President Xi and Prime Minister lasted, I think, a little more than an hour. Little more than an hour. The first part of the meeting was largely focused on BRICS-related issues, which was quite understandable. China had been very supportive of India when we were doing the BRICS summit, and we also were reciprocated in full measure. So there was that sense of mutual support in terms of the BRICS. During this period, in the preparations for the BRICS, actually, we had 7 ministers from India come to China in that correction. Some of it was appreciation for PM's vision of the BRICS. You know, both sides have spoken of a golden decades for the BRICS and how the BRICS can really be raised to the next level. So there was a lot of discussion on that. Then the discussions moved to bilateral relations. And I would sort of characterize the approach of the two sides as a forward-looking approach. And I think essentially the discussions themselves are very constructive about where the relationship should be going and will be going. Now, there was, I think, sort of a reminder that at Astana in early June, we had both agreed that we would not let differences become disputes, and that at a time when the world was changing, we would make sure that India-China relations were a factor of stability. So I think in many ways that was reaffirmed. I think, again, one of the important points which was made during the meeting was that peace and tranquility in the border areas was a prerequisite for the further development of our relationship, and that there should be more effort made to really enhance and strengthen the level of mutual trust between the two sides. There would be, you know, it is natural that between neighbors and large powers that there would be areas of difference. But where there is an area of difference, it should be handled with mutual respect, and efforts should be made to find common ground in addressing those areas. And specifically with regard to defense, that the personnel involved with defense and security must maintain strong contacts and cooperation. And ensure that the sort of situations which happened recently do not recur. The President and the Prime Minister again laid out a very positive view of where our relationship could go, and there was some detailed discussion about the mechanisms which could help us, could help both countries really go forward in that direction, both intergovernmental mechanisms like, you know, we have a joint economic group, we have a defense and security group, we have a strategic group, as well as institutions like BRICS itself, like AIIB, that these are mechanisms and forums which can be used to build the relationship. So overall, I think sort of the readout I would give you, as I said, is really a sort of a forward-looking constructive sort of sense of the relationship, and a very strong affirmation at the leadership level that it is really in the interest of both countries to keep this relationship forward and on an upward trajectory. So that's the broad, you know, that's the readout that I would like to give you. I can take a few questions, but you'll have to bear with me. We have a flight to catch.
Sir, can we say that we have moved ahead?
Just hold on. Yes, Aditya.
On the issue counter-terrorism, there's been positive movement for the first time, listing of terror groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba. Was there any discussion on that? Any forward movement on Maulana Masood Azhar as per the 1267 committee, the sanctions? Any positive movement from China?
Okay. Keep your question short. I will gives me more time. I think the counter-terrorism issues were largely taken up in the discussions leading to the BRICS. They were not addressed in today's meeting. And the broad sense of those discussions really was that, most countries feel very similarly about the challenges posed by terrorism. So this was not just an India position. It was a common position, and many other countries had actually equally strong views on this. So the listing that you see and the statements and commitments which are there in the BRICS statement, these are common commitments of all BRICS members.
Just hold on. Just one second.
In terms of terrorism, sir, in the bilateral context, was terrorism raised? Was the issue and concerns regarding terrorism emanating from Pakistan raised at all between?
Right. In today's bilateral between Prime Minister and President Xi, this specific issue did not come up.
Foreign Secretary, you mentioned that both principals, in light of recent events, said the need for border personnel to be in greater touch, defense personnel to be in greater touch. Could you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, I think what I would like to do really is to give you a sense of the direction, the nature of discussions and the direction of ties. I don't think it would be right for me to characterize specific positions, but I would say, there was on both sides there was a sense that more efforts need to be made to ensure that these kinds of situations don't recur.
Okay, sir, can we say that we have moved ahead from Doklam without mentioning the divert?
I repeat to you that it was a forward-looking meeting. I think there was a sense that if the relationship is to go forward, then peace and tranquility on the border area should be maintained.
Thank you very much.
Can we say that this meeting?
We have a flight to catch.
Can we say just one last question? Can we say that this meeting?
Talk about the so-called illegal trespass of the Indian soldiers in Doklam. Did he raise that?
Again, I repeat to you, both of us know what happened. Okay, so this was not a backwards-looking conversation. This was a forward-looking conversation. The sense of it was, how do we take the relationship forward? How do we ensure that there is peace and tranquility on the border areas to ensure that the relationship stays forward? How do we ensure that mutual contacts and mutual trust is strengthened so that peace and tranquility on the border areas? So that was the direction in which the conversation was going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.